بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم نحمده ونصلي على رسوله الكريم أما بعد. So now we're moving on to the kana. So where are we? We are in the first bab of the amil, and in here we discussed already the qiyasi af'al, which have one maf'ul, two maf'uls, three maf'uls, the af'al al-qulub, etc. Now we're going on to the sama'i verbs, which are, we know what sama'i is already. And in there we have أفعال الناقصة, أفعال المدح والذم, and صيغة التعجب. So currently we are here at أفعال الناقصة. So النوع الثاني السماعي, and السماعي we know already from الوسطى that سماعي is ما ليس له قاعدة مضطردة. It doesn't have a fixed rule. Maybe we're not able to derive our own. These are just some words that we've heard the Arabs using in such a manner, so we can just continue using those. It's not they have no fixed qaida, as explained before. بل يتوقف على السماع. The knowledge of these af'al are based upon sama', our hearing them, hearing the Arab using them, or not hearing them. For us, is seeing them in writing. Acha. وهو ثلاثة أقسام. There are three types. So we have the أفعال الناقصة. The first is أفعال الناقصة. وهي أفعال تدخل على المبتدأ والخبر. This already came in وسطى. وترفع الأول ويسمى اسمها وتنسب الثانية ويسمى خبرها. وهي أربعة أضرب. There are four types of أفعال الناقصة. The first is كان وأخواتها. You have كان وأخواتها, you have the أفعال الشروع, you have the أفعال المقاربة, and all of those are also أفعال الناقصة. Okay, so the first time is the كان وأخواتها. وهي ثلاثة عشرة. There are 13 أفعال ناقصة. Okay, there are 13 أفعال ناقصة. الأول كان. The first is kana. Now, simply we've done before that kana has a past tense meaning. However, there are a lot more intricacies regarding the meaning of kana, which need to be understood especially as they come in the Quran quite often. So yadullu kana ala. Some of the meanings that kana denote are: number one, al-Madhi al-Munqati. What does Madhi means? Past tense. We all know that. And Munqati means it came to an end. It stopped. It was and no longer is. And now you have ala wajhi thubut and you have ala wajhi huduth. Okay, explain this. What does this mean? When you have kana can be madhi munqati, meaning something was in the past and no longer is. That's what munqati means. It was and no longer is. But the thing that was, how was it? Was it there thubutan or huduthan? So for example, if I say this, كانوا معتمرين, for example, كانوا معتمرين, كان قد صدق. It is two easy examples, okay? Now, in this first example here, we have كانوا معتمرين. What does that mean, كانوا معتمرين? They were in the state of Umrah. They were doing Umrah. So this is because let's do another one here, easier one. كانوا فقراء. Now, being a faqir is not you faqir 1 minute and then no longer faqir. It's thubut in faqr. We did the balagha already. So the thing that is munqati was thabit. Yes? And now it came to an end. They were fuqara and now they no longer are. Is munqati. Ala wajhi thubut. Or ala wajhi huduth. He spoke the truth and then he stopped speaking. It doesn't mean he's not speaking lies, but it means he had spoken the truth. This is translated as had. Okay? So, وَكَانُوا عَلَيْهِ شُهَدَاء. They were witnesses to it. And now they passed away, they no longer exist in the world. Okay? So they were, or when they were thubutan. It was a long-term quality of them. Then that long-term quality came to an end. Understood? Yes? And in huduth, لَقَدْ كَانُوا آحَدُ اللَّهِ. They had made a promise to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. لَقَدْ كَانُوا آحَدُ اللَّهِ. They had made a promise to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala from before. So now this is the promise, making the promise, it happened, it occurred and it stopped occurring, but it's finished. Whether the effects remain or not is irrelevant. They had. So you translate this as had. They had made a promise to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Okay? Now you also get kana as mazi mutajaddid. Okay? This is what? Past tense which occurs multiple times. Now there's two types. You have ala wajh al-istimrar you can have past continuous. What do you have? Past continuous. And the other is past habitual. What does past continuous mean? It means we're talking about a single event that was running for a period of time. An easy example of this would be, for example, you would say, for example, Kana Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Kana Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Yusalli. فدخلت عائشة رضي الله عنها. She entered the house. So now we're talking about a single event. He was performing his salah. Yes? The Prophet ﷺ was performing his salah. Then Aisha answered, but the salah was happening over a period of time. And past habitual, kana ya'kulani ta'am. The event happened multiple times. So this is one event over a period of time. And this is multiple events. Multiple events in the past. It happened multiple times. Kana yakulani ta'am. They ate on Monday, on Tuesday. It was their habit to eat. So depending on the context. This is usually like interrupted by another act. Right? He was doing something, then something happened. And this is by itself. They used to eat food full stop. And here, I was going one day and I saw you. I was going one day and I saw his brother. So it has a bit more, so the first one is, 1 minute. Yeah. So the first one is normally comes with another sentence. This comes with something else after it normally. And the second one is just by itself. It's a piece of information. Is that clear to everybody? Okay. Now, understood so far? Now, one important thing we need to understand is more to do with fiqh, is that sometimes when you have kana yaf'alu, so kana yaf'alu usually it shows either past continuous or past habitual. However, we sometimes get kana yaf'alu, and that kana yaf'alu does not show repetition. Yes, it kind of shows, like, it's like, for example, it's like we can use this. Let's say, for example, we can say, oh, when we were younger, I don't know. We could say, let's say, for example, when we were younger, we used to ride around the country, ride around the whole country. Now that can mean that we only did it once, but when we were younger, something we did. Yes. Or when we were younger, we blew up. When we were younger, we used to blow up. When we were kids, we used to blow up we used to blow up things doing chemical experiments. So maybe that happened once, but it means something that we used to do, something that like was our nature, we used to happen. Are you following? So you find it in the hadith example a lot. For example, you find it in Hajj. The Prophet ﷺ used to do this in Hajj, but he didn't perform Hajj one time. Yes, this is more of an usul fiqh discussion, but just to keep it in mind so you know, Shah Walillah rahmatullah mentioned this in one of his usul books. Okay, and a simple example that people mention regarding this is this example. أن رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم كان يصلي وهو حامل أمامة بنت زينب بنت رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم. That the Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم one day he was performing salah, and his granddaughter Zainab radiyallahu ta'ala and his daughter Umama, she came around her grandfather. نعم الحامل ونعم المحمول. And the Prophet ﷺ took her and lifted her in salah, carried on in salah, and then he put her back down again. Yes. Now the fuqaha mentioned this happened once. But kana yusalli kind of implies that it's something he approved of, something that he would recommend, or something that he would like. So it's not that it happened multiple times, it happened once. Yes? And that's why, for example, you have sometimes the Prophet ﷺ would recite this surah in salah. Kana yaqra'u kadha fi Jumu'ah. Some ulama have said it happened multiple times, some say it's something that he would read, meaning he read it. So this is a fiqh discussion, but this keep that as a note. So you know, from a language perspective, this also has this possibility. Achha. Another meaning of kana is bima'na is mazala. What does mazala means? To remain, to continue, or to remain or to continue. For example, وَكَانَ الْإِنسَانُ أَجُولًا. So ajula means to be hasty. So وَكَانَ الْإِنسَانُ أَجُولًا, it means a man is hasty. Now, the reason the word kana comes, you see here, kana is the meaning of mazala. What this means was, what this kana does, kana has past tense meaning by default. So this means that man was in the past tense, or you could say basically it's like a maadi, غير منقطع. Kind of like that aspect, غير منقطع. What does that mean? That man's, like when something is past a long time ago, that means that's your very nature. Yes, you say, since he was young, he was like that. So Allah is saying, وَكَانَ الْإِنسَانُ أَجُولًا وَلَمْ يَزَلْ أَجُولًا. But man's nature, meaning man was, meaning his disposition, his nature, the way he was created. وَكَانَ الْإِنسَانُ أَجُولًا. You say, man is hasty. But the word kana is used to bring the past tense meaning. What's the past tense meaning? Not that maadi munqati, he was and no longer is. It means that he was, meaning in his asal khilqa, right from his beginning, from his nature, from his destiny, is such that he's ajul. You want things quickly, you make dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, oh Allah, remove oppression. And we want to happen straight away. Allah knows best when it's going to happen, why it's going to happen. When it's going to happen and how it's going to happen. But we are ajul, we want dua to accept it immediately. So that's our nature. In anything, we want khair, we want to happen immediately. We invest in money, we want returns immediately. We're sick, we want to get healthy immediately. So let's say, وَكَانَ الْإِنسَانُ أَجُولًا. That by nature, man is hasty. By nature, man is hasty. So Allah is saying, that is, and the kana shows us his natural disposition, his immediate, that's the way he functions. Understood? وَكَانَ الْإِنسَانُ أَجُولًا. So it means mazal, he was. So kana insan, man was in his natural tabi'ah, and he still is. But the kana points out towards the fact that this being an old habit, an old, something old, qadim, taqdeer. Acha. Kana can also come from future tense. But now this is like the prophetic past. Prophetic past. What's prophetic past? You express a future tense event using the past tense to show, indicate, and highlight its certainty. For example, Jazakallah. So in du'as we use it, Arabs use it all the time. So Jazakallah, Allah has rewarded you. Past tense, Jaza yajzi, Allah has rewarded you. So we say Jazakallah, Allah has rewarded me, Allah will reward you. But the same way the past is certain, the future is also certain. Allah will most definitely reward you. Ata amrullah, the command of Allah has come, the matter of Allah, decree of Allah has come. It will come, but it is certain. So sometimes future events are expressed using the past. So in a normal verb, you'll have the fa'il, iqtarabat as-sa'a, ata amrullah, jazakallah, du'as, all of these expressed using a specific verb, past tense verb to denote the future tense meaning to show certainty. In the jumla ismiya, you'd add the word kana. And that kana means certainly. Again, even the meaning of destiny is also in there. So, إِنَّ الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَعَمِلُوا الصَّالِحَاتِ كَانَتْ لَهُمْ جَنَّاتُ الْفِرْدَوْسِ نُزُولًا. So, those who do good and believe, Jannatul Firdaus is certainly, you can add the word certainly, is certainly going to be their abode, or certainly going to be their welcome, or certainly going to be the entertainment. Yes, or going to be the banquet that Allah prepares for them. So the kana is for prophetic past. Sometimes the word kana shows inbigha. What does inbigha mean? To be suitable, to be appropriate, to be permissible. For example, it says here, Ma kana lana. So, was not for us that we. It was not suitable for us, not permitting for us, not permissible for us, not appropriate for us. So this ma kana yamba. So ma kana lana, it is not for us. It is not suitable for us, not befitting for us. So the kana has the meaning of inbigha, suitable, permissible, appropriate. It is not for us, it is not fitting for us that we worship, we ascribe partners to Allah, anything. Min za'ida, fasila. Yes, it's not appropriate for us to ascribe anything as partners to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now, this meaning of inbigha, etc., when we look at other verses, we can see it here. So we have وَمَا كَانَ لَنَا وَمَا يَنْبَغِي لِلرَّحْمَنِ. So basically this kana is basically representing the verb kana, يَنْبَغِي. So we have other structure where yambaghi is explicitly mentioned. And some places not explicitly mentioned. When it's explicitly mentioned, I don't know the difference. What's the difference in terms of the meaning? But when you have it explicitly mentioned, you have ma yambaghi. And sometimes removed and you have kana. So you see the structure here, and we understand that structure using this. So this one is وَمَا يَنْبَغِي لِلرَّحْمَنِ أَن يَتَّخِذَ وَلَدًا. It is not befitting of Allah at all that He takes children, that He has children. Allah does not befit Him. For Him. Sometimes the word kana also has a meaning of qudra, ability. Okay? So it's again, when if you study إنبغاء properly, this is also one of the meanings of the أي وما كان أي وما كان أي. No soul has the ability. ما كان نفس أي ما. It is not permissible. It is not possible for any soul to die except the permission of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. وَمَا كَانَ لِنَفْسٍ أَن تَمُوتَ إِلَّا بِإِذْنِ اللَّهِ. It is not for any soul, it is not befitting, it's not permissible for any soul to die. Meaning it can only die when Allah has written for it. Even if you try to take your soul, normally Allah will use normal asbab. Normal asbab is if you get a gun and put it away and you shoot yourself, you will die. But it's only because Allah allows that to happen. If Allah wants, it wouldn't work. So you will only die when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has decreed for you. And if you adopt those asbab, that means Allah has decreed your death at that particular time. Okay, mas'ala. Now, this is one mas'ala. What does it say here? يجوز حذف نون كلمة. You got يكون, تكون, أكون, and نكون. Any of these four sighas, or five, because takunu comes twice. Any of these five sighah, when it is majzoom, you can remove the noon, you can remove the wow, you can remove the noon. Yes? So for example, yakun, yakunu can become yaku when it's majzoom. For example here. And obviously, there's no sakin after it and no zamir nasab muttasil after it. For example, so majzoom, for example, lam. So you come lam yakun. So lam yakun can become, instead of lam yakun, you say lam yaku. Lam yaku. You drop the noon. Lam yaku, lam taku, lam aku, lam nakun. Obviously, if the sakin after it, you wouldn't do this. For example, lam yakun alladhina kafaru, come in the Quran. Lam yakun alladhina kafaru min ahli kitab. So because alladhina is got a sukun on it, ladhina. So you can't do lam yakul ladhina. Here you can't do it. Similarly, you can't say lam yakuhu. You can say lam yakunhu. Lam yakunhu, the zamir mansub muttasil. He was not it. You can't say lam yakuhu. You can't say lam yakuhu. But if it's not got a zamir, the khabar is actually ism zahir. And there's no sakin after it, you can say lam yaku. Nahu, lam naku min al-musallin. Instead of lam nakunu, lam nakun min al-musallin, lam naku min al-musallin. بخلاف لم يكن الذين كفروا and لم أكنه. So here الذين كفروا is a sukun. So therefore you can't say لم يكو. And you can't say لم أكنه. Those are impermissible. Is everybody following? Is that clear? Achha. The next thing we have is when you, again, that's the Nahw perspective. In terms of ma'na, in terms of balagha, now there must be a reason. When you remove the kan, when you say lam yakun, when you say lam yaku, there must be a reason. If you look in the Quran, remember the basic rule is kathratul bina tadullu ala ziyadatul ma'na. Ya ziyadatul ma'na, ziyadatul mabna. Mabna sigha. More sigha, longer sigha, more words. Tadullu ala ziyadatul ma'na. Shows more meaning. More words, more meaning. Less words, less meaning. So qatala, less qatal, and qattala, more. Taf'il shows takthir, because there's more letters. Similarly, where is the possibility, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants to highlight taqleel in the ma'na, then you will find many places the word lam yaku, lam aku is used instead. Similar example. Awala yadhkuru al-insan, does human being not remember anna khalaqnahu min qabl, that we created him before? Yes. Walam yaku shay'a, he was nothing. So if I say walam yakun shay'a, it also means nothing. But then there's more kaun. So say lam yaku shay'a, he was nothing at all. Where is that all coming from? Because even the noon is gone off from there. His kaun was lam yaku, not even lam yakun. Another example, you have walam aku baghiya. I was not a loose lady. So lam aku baghiya. So at all, nothing at all. Walam yaku shay'a. So when you drop the noon, it shows taqleel in the ma'na. It shows what? Taqleel in the ma'na. Fahim? Now, there's a masla here that sometimes you can remove kana, according to some grammarians, you can remove kana and the ism of kana. For example, fa'aminu, that's a amr. And khayr lakum, according to them, is yakun al-imanu khayr lakum. So the kana is mahzuf. This kana is mahzuf, and the ism is also mahzuf. And khayr is jawabul amr. فآمنوا يكون الإيمان خير لكم. So you have Amr, Jawab al-Amr. When in Jawab al-Amr, the fail Kana is mahsuf and the ism of Kana is also mahsuf. That's one tarkib. أي آمنوا يكون خير لكم أي يكون الإيمان خير لكم. However, that's a Kufi opinion. The Basri say no. لا يزف كان ما اسمها. They don't agree. They say no. There's no hadaf. Instead, they say that آمنوا is a مفعول مطلق. خير مفعول مطلق. أي آمنوا إيمانا خير. It's a mahzuf. So آمنوا خير لكم is one. It's not Amr Jawab al-Amr. It's one word. It's one jumla. آمنوا إيمانا خير لكم. Bring a faith, believe firmly in Allah, which is better for you. So it's basically the sifa of that maf'ul mutlaq mahzuf. That's one opinion. So it's a kind of not mahzuf. It's maf'ul. It's a sifa of the maf'ul mutlaq mahzuf. Or another opinion is a maf'ul bihi of a fi'l mudmar, fi'l hidden. Ay aminu, bring iman. Waqsidu khayran, wa'tu khayran, bring iman and do good. So aminu khayr lakum. So that's another opinion. So one of these two. And they say kana is not mahzuf. And the Kufi says aminu yakun al-imanu khayr lakum. The kana and its ism is mahzuf. Alhamdulillah. So those are some rules regarding kana. Does everybody understand this? Any questions? Okay. Subhanallah wa bihamdi. Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdika wa nashhadu an la ilaha illa anta wa nastaghfiruka wa natubu ilayk.